Welcome to Synchronicity. We have one of our favorite guests on today, Ramin Nazer. You know him from his awesome art that he puts on Instagram. He's active all of the places. You can find him. He also has a wonderful podcast, Rainbow Brain Skull, which he hasn't done in a little bit. And, let's encourage him to do that again. Go and check out all his stuff. Like I said on Instagram, you know who he is. He's been on the show a bunch. He's probably been on the show as much as anyone else, right? Sean and Cass, him, Jessa. Who else am I forgetting? Those are the big three. I guess four if you count Sean and Cass as two people, which they are. We have a fun episode this week, like I said, with Ramin. It's pretty good. I think you're going to enjoy it. You can check out the second bonus episode dropped of Synchronicity. Those are the solo casts over on Patreon. That's a $5 tier. You get 4 bonus episodes a month, assuming there are 4 weeks in a month. Sometimes there's 5. So 4 or 5. And then there's the other tiers with the other stuff, the readings, the live streams, the music. Speaking of music, I've been releasing some. You can go check out on all of your favorite streaming platforms. I'm a Spotify fan. We had one single, which 2 songs on the single came out this past week. I have another 2 tracks coming out and then a 4-track EP. And then I'm going to release another one a little bit after that. I'm just kind of getting it all out, you know? I've had this stuff sitting on the hard drive for a long time. So I'm getting it out. You can go check all that stuff out. I like it. It's good. It's fun stuff. A reminder, you get access to all that stuff early if you're on the Patreon. But if you just want to wait with everyone else, that's also okay. And then we have today's, I don't want to say it's the last day, right? You have up until November to technically join the Imagination Actualization group that we're doing in November from November 1st to November 28th. There are a few spots still open. We're going to send out the email tomorrow or today. I guess today is going to be the 25th with organizing times for the meetings. I'm waiting till most people join so we can make sure everyone can attend at least one of the 3 sessions. We're just kind of workshopping this, beta testing. I think it's going to be pretty cool. People should like it. And then thanks to all the new TikTok followers, I have been going live every single day at a mystery time, usually in the afternoon Eastern, where I'm giving out free readings. The other readings are obviously on the website. And if you want the tarot stuff, I'll do flash readings on Instagram sometimes. So you can check that out. That's it. That's all the business stuff. That's all the news stuff. The Dolphins lost to the Eagles because the Eagles are cheaters and the refs cheated. It was ridiculous. It was a travesty. It was a farce. Not an Eagles fan. Let's just leave it at that. The Dolphins will be fine. It's probably not the worst thing that they lost this game. If you go in and you win that game on the road, everyone's going to be crowning for you. You're absolutely going to get everyone's best game. The Dolphins need a little time to figure out who they are, maybe just like you and me, right? We got to figure out our identity, who we want to be in the world, how we're going to respond to adversity, all that fun stuff. That's what they're doing too. As go the Dolphins, as go we, right? Or at least me. Anyway, I think that's it for this intro. We've wrapped up pretty much everything that needs to be wrapped up. We've solved all global issues in the world, solved our own personal problems. Everything is amazing. It will never be bad. I will say one thing about crypto because we had a little bit of a bump in the Bitcoin arena. Not the worst time to get into crypto. I know everyone, I joked on Twitter, it's 2 months before my non-crypto friends start asking me about Bitcoin and crypto. This is a good time to at least pay attention. You do not need to be an active trader. The practice of buying something, holding it for a period of years is not the worst things. There will be another bull run. Some might argue that we're in the beginning stages of it. Just pay attention. A reminder, you can find this on my Linktree bio on Instagram. I did develop a crypto course with my friend Nicole, who's amazing. And you can go and check that out. All I can say is this. It's good to be a little bit early when things start running up. If you get sucked in during the mania phase, we're probably more than halfway through it. The window for kind of doing well in those asymmetric bets don't tend to be as easy to operate within. I will say this, I stated my desire to hack abundance, and then within a week, the crypto market goes insane. And if you know me, I always have some funds in the crypto market. So that was fun. Nice little boost, right? We can't complain about that. There's fun shit going on, guys. Like I said, 2024 is going to be a pretty good year. I'm looking forward to doing more giveaways in the Discord server. The Discord server usually pops off when crypto was booming, because there's a ton of people. I think we have over 1,000 people in there. They usually lurk until there's something to do, and there's something to do when the prices are going up, right? Okay, that's all I'm going to say about it. I won't annoy you. Without further ado, give a big welcome, warm reception to one of our favorite people, Ramin Nazer.
Just to preface everything I've said, I'm worse than Hitler and Trump both on the toilet.
I think
at the same time.
It's just a good point to establish that at the beginning of anything, before anything you say, is if you could just say that, then you're like, listen, my bases are covered. I can say whatever I want now.
I'm not good.
I'm bad.
I'm not good. Don't project goodness onto me. Don't comb the podcast for opinions. Like, it's trying to be... Dude. I'm trying to just, be funny and at least refreshing, because don't you hate when you're trying to listen to something and you know that they also believe it, but they're doing so much lip service of it's like 15 minutes of like doing and just my heart goes out to all the suffering of the people and land acknowledgements of the...
It's extended thoughts and prayers. That's all it is. It's just extended.
It is.
It's like, just say thoughts and prayers. Just say thoughts and fucking prayers. We condensed it down to a meaningless, trite statement where we can just say thoughts and prayers. Please don't expound on your feelings of this situation. We don't want it. What we're all doing, here's the real truth, and I'm sorry for people who have to hear this. When you write one of those long diatribes about Israel and Palestine, your other friends are screenshotting it and making fun of you to each other because it's ridiculous. And literally,
we are? Oh, damn.
Like, I mean, at least that's what I'm doing with my friends, because it's like...
I got to make some friends.
Yeah. It's just like, guys, what are you fucking doing? What are you doing? Like, talk to a person about it. By all means, feel the way you want to feel, but just like emotional diarrheaing on social media... I mean, I guess everyone is guilty of it at some time. I'm not holier than thou. I know in my, drunken days on Twitter in like 2010, I said some wild shit. But like, I don't know.
Can you give me some examples of like jokes, or you mean like you were politically charged against like, Bush or something?
So many random things. So many jokes that clearly just fell completely flat. I'm like, what were you doing?
Oh, like, we were all like just saying the most vile, like
horrible,
slur-filled everything on Twitter back then. Like, if you search any racial slur in someone's name, like 2010, AOC is like just screaming it.
It's crazy. It was just like, I had like 10 tweets about Italian people. I'm like, what was did I have a bit with Italian people? I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I went back and deleted a lot of this shit because I was just like, I can't at any point have this thrown back in my face of who I am, because like, I don't know what I was thinking back then, but this shit is crazy.
It's great that we are relatively unknown. Like, I mean, compared to...
I think the heavens... Dude.
Yeah, like Taylor. I mean, not to put us right next to Taylor Swift beneath that.
We're close.
We're well below.
No, we're really close. I think a couple more years we'll be there. We can be selling out billions in the summertime. For sure.
We've got audiences. We've got friends and that stuff. But you and I are not. We are not famous in the like TMZ is gonna.
I think we're right on the cusp.
Canceled, yeah.
We're right on the cusp. We're gonna be with Taylor and Travis. I think Pfizer will give one of us a deal in the next couple of years. I'm working on that Imaginal Act, so we'll get that branding deal. The new vaccine plus.
Hell yeah,
that'd be dope. That'll be. I'm waiting for that. No, I know what you're saying. Like, it is very good to have relative anonymity. I do get dragged every so often for
who drags you?
Just people.
I could get some more drags. It's probably because I just mainly
you want some
do
drags?
Arts and stuff.
I got a place for drags. I did this with Sean and Cass, and their only drag was actually a complaint about me. I looked at the Patreon exit surveys. Have you ever taken a gander at those gems of content?
They're all nice. They're all nice to me. It's always
not me.
Like when they...
Not me, dude. They're like, fuck you, Trump boy. Like, holy shit. You pro-vax motherfucker. I'm like, oh my God. Like, what is going on here? I laughed at it. Today, This is my favorite one that happened today. And I'm literally at the point where like no fucks are given. I can genuinely say that because of my reaction today. I sent out an email to my email list, which I hadn't emailed people in like 3 years. I sent out an email and I was like, I'm doing bonus episodes. I'm going to do bonus stuff on the Patreon. Because like I've actually been putting effort into the Patreon. I'm kind of proud of it. I'm like, want people to see it. And this dude wrote back, he goes, you blew all your magical money and now want us to pay you. Fuck off. And I was like...
Okay, that guy's funny.
I was like,
I want to go to his. I'm going to subscribe to his Patreon.
I was like, please start a Patreon because this shit is the best response. And it wasn't like I was like, I'm demanding you pay this money. You're not going to get anything more. I was just like, hey, here's this thing, guys, if you want it. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is also, truthfully, like when I do stuff like that. And I think this has a lot to do with people like making money, whether it's on Patreon or through art or creativity. There is that part of us that like feels like, am I doing something wrong? Like, should I not be charging people this much for it? Or are they not going to pay it because I'm not worth it? And then to see the guy actually like say the thing that's so fucking ridiculous. Like, I know, like I would never just be like, please pay me money. I need it. I'm like, hey, this is some cool thing. And this dude wrote it and I was just laughing. I was like, this is the best. Like, I don't know why I ever kind of like put myself through the ringer like that. Cause I know myself too well. Like I can't fake any of this stuff. I feel like such a scumbag and it's so transparent. Like whenever I'm doing something that's not authentic, I just like look like such a loser. So like I've just learned to not look like a loser by not doing like disingenuous things. But dude, yeah, I mean, sometimes I get under people's skin. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm saying that's pissing people off. Sean and Cass, they had one patron lead. The only negative one was Noah. And I'm like, what do I do?
Wait, Sean and Cass's Patreon? You caused people on Sean and Cass's Patreon to leave?
They were like,
that is great.
They were like, listen, you
infect other people's audience. I got to keep you off mine.
Yes, stay off. I'm a toxic. They were like, dude, you've probably brought in like, you know, like a lot of people, but this one person was so mad at you that they made a point of saying you're a piece of shit on the way out. And I'm like, damn, I don't know exactly what's going on there, but I hope people would understand that any opinion that I have is generally not very serious and also probably not long for this world. Like I change my mind all the fucking time. So,
yeah.
But
luckily AI is coming in, or not coming. AI is here. I could make a whole podcast with your voice, with the emotional affect to it, too. So in the future, we can just, or not in the future. Why do I keep saying that? Right now, anything can be denied. It's like, yeah, that's a deep fake. I would never say that I don't consume all the news about Israel Palestine. Of course, I consume all the news about Israel Palestine, right? And I stand with the oppressed, and I denounce the oppressors. Of course I do.
Yeah, man, this fucking I just feel like
I give all my money to it too. I send all my money to solving
that's actually
world
why
problems.
I didn't lose it in crypto. I gave it all to Ukraine and Israel, and now I don't have any. I mean, they're gonna pull. Here's the thing. Like,
oh, so you were the person that donated the second most amount? I was wondering who donated the second most amount.
Oh yes,
next to me.
You did get.
When I saw that like ticker, yeah. When I saw who I overpassed, I'm like,
yeah,
who donated the second most amount? I'm like, oh, that's cool that I already know them in real life.
Yeah, it was you, me, Sam Bankman-Fried, Pinky Doll. Those were the four biggest donors to Ukraine and Israel's.
Is that the crypto jail guy?
Which one? Yeah, dude.
He's the guy that went to jail for scamming people for billions or something. He's getting
flamed now by his ex-lover in the courts. She turned on him super hard. This dude was like living the crazy Adderalled out life. Like he was on straight stimulants, going nuts, literally like, I'm gonna steal money from people and give it to Tom Brady and Biden. It's like, my guy, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, where was the end game here? Like, you have to have an out. You gotta have some type of soft landing for yourself. And this dude,
and that's you saying it.
Of all people, I'm thinking while I'm saying it, I'm like, you need a soft landing, and I fucking come in pretty rough a lot of the times. I was just like, man, what the fuck are you doing? I didn't have any money on there, so I wasn't personally affected in that way. You know, you get screwed in any number of ways.
It's foreign trade exchange. Is that what it is?
FTX. Yeah.
Is he also the guy that had a billboard up?
Yes.
Maybe you didn't see that, but he had a billboard with his face blown up to like 10x what a human person is.
Yes, that's
like
him.
Of him. That's crazy.
And he's not like a particularly good looking dude.
Narcissism.
Yeah, he was insane. Well, he was an effective altruist who would, the basic equation of how that works is you flip a coin, and if the odds are 50-50 that the world can be doubly as good or that it'll be destroyed, those are good enough odds to flip the coin. He's like Thanos, basically. That's literally like what the doctrine of effective altruism was saying. Like, you have to take the chances and the risks to make the place as best as it possibly can be. I wonder if I'm effective altruist. Fuck.
Is he smart at least? Like, I mean that in just the objective sense, not morally. Like, people often be like, he's not smart, he's dumb because he's against my morals. Like, no, you can have smart people that are completely against your morals.
I think he just had balls, really. I mean, I don't think
because I don't think I could scam billions of dollars. I could maybe scam like a few thousand or something, but I don't think I could scam.
You could if you didn't have ethical
an amygdala
or yeah, basically, or like any ethical, well, not the frontal cortex, right? Any ethical or moral framework, you could do it. Like, if you could drop aspects of personality and identity where you're just like, I am going to fuck over whoever because it is for the greater good. It's like classic villain shit. It's not smart. It's just like, you don't have that part of you that like stops people from being a piece of shit to other people.
Yeah,
that's
the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Isn't that part of what the quote means? Is like, all the villains think that they're making the world better.
A better
like
place.
None of them are like, they're like, no, this is I know some people have to die.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Their homes, but overall, we need to do this to have a better law and order society.
It's every Marvel movie villain, basically, is that you just have the person who thinks they're doing best for the world, and in reality, they're fucking it up. Well, I hope I'm not that person, because I don't know that I don't think I would destroy the world for a 50% chance, but like 70, maybe I would. It's like not
the whole world.
Yeah, 70% odds though. It's going to be doubly as good. That's
what about like the cockroaches and stuff? Do they get to make it out?
No,
or you
no,
mean
no.
Cyrax's fatality?
Totally Cyrax.
For people who don't know, because me and Noah both play Mortal Kombat a little bit.
We
do. There's, I'm sure you're familiar, listener, with the fatality concept. After the fight is over, you kill them in a creative way. One of the characters, Cyrax, the cyborg character, has a fatality that's so ridiculous. All these bombs start like coming out of his chest, and then it zooms out to the world, and then the whole world blows up. It's like, you killed everybody, even you and everyone you know.
It's a true
fatality.
It's a true.
Yeah.
It's a true fatality. It's the ultimate fatality. That game is fucking crazy. They really did a pretty good job with this one, I gotta say. We spoke about it briefly, but they rebooted it enough that I think, like, with the story and everything, they did a pretty decent job with the weird dimensional stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it. I don't have enough time logged in to make like true, because gaming is such a big industry now. It's like, no, it's inferior to MKX, but it's equal to MK11 Ultra, and in the like, this character is broken, and this one needs to be nerfed, and this one needs to be buffed, and it's like, I don't even know high level anything.
I don't know. I got off the page with like probably Mortal Kombat like, I don't know, 6. It was like 2001. That's the last time I was like super into Mortal Kombat where I could actually play. I don't have time for the video games like I used to. It's a weird thing that kind of evaporated in this new phase of reality. Like, even when I play them for a little bit, I'm just like,
Even if we did, our reaction time would be inferior to like a 17-year-old.
That's what it is, right? Are we just old? Is it just that like the games are made for like the better nervous systems of younger people? And I'm just like,
It's not that they're made for it. It's just that they're going to, like, as far as like peak performance, like, of course, peak performance is with the young. We're wise. We're less chaotic, and like, we're not going to make stupid decisions and like just be full of, as Louis C.K. would say it, like full of cum.
Yeah.
That we're like, no, I might die in a year, I might die in 20 years, and I've made peace with that.
Are we at that
We're
stage?
just more chill. We're chill. Or in 80 years, or I might live forever also. I might be uploaded to the cloud.
Would you? I would not go to the cloud. I would.
Upload to the cloud?
No, I wouldn't.
I feel like I already did. Or I feel like they could just do that anyway.
You think they'll restore your consciousness after you're dead in this timeline? based on the digital footprint you've left so far.
Yeah, and I feel like, did you ever see Star Trek: The Next Generation?
One of my favorite shows of
How?
all time. This, yeah.
Oh, great. So Riker, Commander Riker, gets stuck in a teleporter pattern for a little bit.
Yes.
And then one of the episodes is how like they accidentally made two of him. One of him just like came out of the teleporter, and so it's him from 10 years ago, and then he's like having to face himself from 10 years ago.
Yes.
But they're both technically
Riker.
him,
Yeah.
and we're just like so attached to our identity. It's like, would I upload myself into the cloud? It's like, no, if they wanted to, they could just copy you infinite times over into the cloud and kill this one or keep this one alive. It's
Would you
the
have
identity version of you is up for grabs.
Would you have the awareness of being recreated? Probably not, right? That's not how most of the stuff works in this world. You would have
No,
that
but they
image.
could simulate that easily. They could be like, oh, he feels like he's
That
uploaded.
would suck. I feel.
Or they
like.
could make me a she too, or they could make me a they, or they could anything.
Oh man, this is wild.
It's
I
it's
never
all
thought about
basically
that.
the biggest lesson for the future is just stop thinking in terms of like this concrete box and think of a silly putty that's just like it can be stretched and pulled and throw against the wall and bounce all over the place. Like that's what the future is. Not like, will it be a chrome looking thing that's solid, or will it be a more white looking thing that's solid? No more solid, all liquid, all fuck all your preconceived notions from before. That's the main lesson.
All I keep thinking is of like ketamine is definitely practice for this reality. That's what it feels like.
Yes.
To me. It feels like that's what I'm doing. Like, cause I've been saying to people, I mean, you know what? Like I was doing a bunch of ketamine back like 3-4 years ago when I was in LA. I was like really in my love affair with ketamine. I didn't do it for 2 years. I recently started doing it again, and I'm like, wow, this is very much applicable to reality. When I do this, it feels like I understand a lot of aspects of reality a lot better right now. And what you're describing sounds exactly like that, because that is kind of like when I tap into the energy, or like whatever you do to kind of sense what's going on within and without. It does feel like that. It's so fucking elastic. It's so spongy. It's so like mold into like that weird, not the Play-Doh, but that other weird smelling stuff. What was that shit called with the little bubbles?
Not gack, right?
No, it
Is
wasn't gack. Was slime. It was that
slime.
It was this other.
Do kids have that nowadays, or they just make it for YouTube? Back in our day, we bought it from
Yeah,
the
you had
toy
to buy
store.
it in the little containers.
Yeah, we don't make it for content and then make money. We begged our parents to pay the $10 for it.
Wow, they really had us in the 90s, man. They really had us by the balls. They were just like, buy this, and we're like, we will buy it. That is what I want. You knew it. How did you know exactly what I wanted? We're like, that's it. That's the thing I want. And we all loved it. It's fucking crazy. Now it's like, just
Go back.
Jesus.
Yeah, go look at commercials from the 90s. All of them were just basically the child is experiencing drug withdrawal symptoms, and then it's like once they get the corn pops or the cookie crisp or something, then it's like, oh, gotta have my pops.
It's so true.
It's like, oh, and that was okay.
It's so true. It's like Tyrone like scratching the neck before
Yeah.
they get the fucking whatever it is, the bubble yum. It's like, now I'm good.
I need the bubble, your mom.
The truth is that is how ads should be. I'd probably buy more of the products if they were just that base level of honest. Don't go through withdrawals. Buy this.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, man. I could definitely get behind some 90s ads. It's just so fucking, I think like there's this ever knowing, like we want to know what the fuck is going on, like in the world, in reality with ourselves. And I guess I've been trying to think about ways to like make that feel as smooth as possible. Recognizing, yeah, we're not going to get rid of all suffering. That is a propellant in a lot of ways. That's something that I basically didn't recognize until probably the past few years, which is like that tension, that struggle, that suffering, whatever it is, that often is exactly the thing that like gets us to a different state of awareness. It is something that proves as maybe not a comfortable but useful sort of tension. And it's not like some malfunction of reality that's to be eliminated, but it's how do we use that kind of in a productive way that feels authentic, that doesn't feel like we're cheating our existence or like, you know, programming something in a way that's not like correct. just because like it's just getting so increasingly fucking bizarre. Like it's
Yeah.
so weird, dude. Like I don't think we talk about this enough or ever. It's so fucking weird, right? It's so weird. Like it's not even close. I remember when things weren't as weird. And maybe that's crazy. Maybe that's just a product of getting older. But I talk to young people. I talk to people much older. Like everyone's like, nah, this shit is pretty gnarly. This is like, this is
Yeah.
not. I don't
Just
remember.
AI alone, AI capabilities alone makes it beyond weird. Like if you told someone 10 years ago that you could make a pixel by pixel perfect recreation of anything, and you could copy someone's voice exactly, they'd be like, well, what will happen to entertainment and what will happen to politics? And the truth is like, the truth.
The truth.
He still thinks the truth.
Yeah.
And it's like, we like go log into truth.com and you get your truth of the day. It's like, no. It's over.
It's over though.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
And I guess, like, what do you do? I guess, like, what do we collectively do when we realize we are thrust into the, like, abyss, the chaotic abyss of, like, figure it out? Like, there is no... I imagine a map emerges for each cyclical period of existence. But when you're in these kind of in-between, like, I feels like an in-between place, right? Like, in 100 years, will there still be late-stage capitalism? Is that like a good bet? I don't know. Maybe like, but how? It's not going to be in 1,000 years. That feels completely unsustainable. So we know this shit has to kind of like change over into something. It's just at what point does that happen? I was just thinking about this shit. Like, what a fucking crazy. It's like we really picked some wild shit incarnating in this time and place. It's just like, what were we thinking? It's already wild to incarnate as a thing. Just to have a physical body, like that's crazy enough. It's like, hey, you want to go into the world of death and experience things dying and decaying and being impermanent all the time? You're like, I guess that sounds pretty crazy. It's like, hey, how about you do it at also the craziest fucking time to date that you can imagine in terms of, I guess it does get wilder, but what a fucking time to incarnate.
What if we've only been doing this and each time we only just up the ante and like we thought that the 80s were crazy. Like you and I both died in the 80s and then we reincarnated again and then we end up reincarnating in 2030 or something where it's just like zip zap zoopy everything. Like every moment is a new color and a new note that just didn't exist in this register. It's like, oh, can you believe that 130 years ago there was just this limited color spectrum and this limited mathematical 12-tone scale thing, and it's just and there's romance and betrayal and also news. But it's just you just couldn't. It would be like us trying to explain to an amoeba what your and I's daily life is. It'd be like, what?
It's like just there's no interface for that at this point. But we're going through it. That's the crazy thing. Like that's where I find to be one of the weirdest aspects of reality right now. And it ages you at a certain point, but we were both alive before the internet. Like we grew up with our childhood not having
before it hit scale. Yeah,
scale. Like we just got we were hitting like puberty and like becoming kind of going into the world and forming identities. I was the stupidest because I not only had the internet going at the time, but I started doing psychedelics like heavy when I was 15. Crazy heavy. So like my identity never had a time to kind of be like, hey, you'll be this now, son. It was like, all right.
When was your first breakdown?
2003. So I was 20.
Was that after the psychedelics or before the psychedelics?
Oh, that was after the psychedelics,
okay.
My friend. Yeah. That was basically 5 or 6 years of very heavy psychedelic use to the point of like just like really being launched out there almost on a weekly, sometimes multi-daily basis and taking just like absurd amounts of mushrooms and LSD and really getting to some crazy places like that I cherish and love very much, but you a little too much of the Icarus thing in that particular one. But yeah, that was a lot of psychedelics, dude. That's bound to happen. I think it's very difficult to do prolonged heavy use of psychedelics for people, like multi-year. It really does put a stress on the psyche that unless you're totally prepared to just like go totally off grid, like not even like in the energy sense, but just like you are not going to have be
executive function.
Yeah. You're going to be shitting yourself all of the time. No, but you won't be able to communicate with people, right? Like you're not going to be able to have regular conversations, and everyone kind of knows someone like that, and it's unfortunate. And I feel very grateful that like I peered over the abyss, the edge of sanity, and was like, all right, maybe I'm not going to go totally down there just yet. I'm very happy for that, and ultimately incredibly grateful. But you do see people who just push it way too far, and it's sad because, well, maybe it's not sad. Maybe for them it's fucking amazing. You know, maybe for us it's like someone
when they're in it.
Yeah, when you're in it, when you crash and come back to an unsustainable state of being, which I would say is just emitting more energy than you're recouping. That's all I would define it as. Not even anything more complex than that. But basically, you're leaking energy. Even if it's a very high output and you have a surplus of it, that leak will eventually get to a low level where some people find it very, very difficult to like claw your back. Oh, hey, kid. Is Yoshi?
No, Yoshi passed away
in
February, but this is a foster, and this one is Pluto.
Oh.
And Pluto he has a very high Disney voice.
I love it.
And he's got so much anxiety, and it's funny because it's the opposite of Yoshi had not been anxious in 1 second of his life. Like you couldn't explain anxiety to Yoshi. He was the epitome of confidence. And then this poor guy, because he's from the streets, and like when he first came in, just had like scabs all over his paws, and like took some time to rehabilitate. But like they just have this ingrained anxiety that gets better, but I don't think he'll ever be truly free of the anxiety. But yeah, we've got him, and we've got another one who's his like basically twin brother who's not anxious like him, and then we've got 4 kittens. So it's a zoo in here right now. We've got literally 6 cats in the house.
How old are the kittens?
Oh, like 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Oh, perfect. That's such a good age. They're like, are they just starting to jump up on like beds and stuff?
No, they're there now. They sleep with us. They sleep
that's amazing.
in the bed. And there's the gray one. We call him Space Gray. He's like super chill and confident. And then the 2 orange ones are like in the middle. And then Hot Spot is the calico one, spotted all over. And she's like, from New York or New Jersey, and it's just like we'll tell you fuck you, like just as a greeting, like
that sounds like
doesn't hate you, but just like you walk into the room like
oh, that's fucking adorable, man.
And then
I didn't know
we'll still get pit and stuff.
That's amazing.
Catherine is they are they teach you so much, and Catherine is really the catalyst of all this. Like I am not the person that is like, I'm gonna go foster cats. Like it comes into my life, and I'm easygoing, so I'm like, we can foster. I can make it work. And then after it's happening, I'm like, this is great. I'm so glad that she nudged me, but I don't do good things.
You're like I'm a bad person. Let me remind you, I would never foster poor innocent animals off the street. My partner will. It's like
I would if they showed up to the door, but it's not like I'm gonna go to the website and apply. Like I don't have, what is it called, conscientiousness.
No, I don't think most people think to foster pets. I don't think most people. There usually is one person in a relationship who's like, I'm gonna do that, or like that's the type of person, and that's an amazing type of person too because they need it. Kittens are also, though, as I'm sure you've realized, I my last cat, who recently just passed away as well in, was it February? Weird. Isis. I had her as a kitten from like a week old. She was born in a barn. She was the runt, and they're so fucking cute. It's out of control.
So you bottle babied it? If it's 1 week old, like was she a bottle baby?
No, she wasn't a bottle baby. She was a bottle baby. She had the milk that we had to get. The mom was gone. Cool. Yeah. The milk. She was so fucking young. She came with me to Boston. I remember she went through heat for the first time, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I did not have a conception of what a cat threw when they went through heat before, because the cat growing up was neutered, and she wasn't spayed yet. And it was just like, yo, this cat is horny as fuck. Anything that was going on, her ass was up in the air. She was making the craziest sounds. And I'm like, yo, I think my cat is broken. And then I called the vet, and they were like, nope. she needs to be spayed because that
Yeah.
is not going to be good for you otherwise. I was like, shit.
If they don't get spayed, like one becomes five, or not one, but two can become six, can become 50, like in a year.
Yeah, yeah. Well, your life isn't all bad with you got the kittens. I mean, here's
No, my life is great. I'm not my complaints are very specific, but I would never say that like my
no,
life
I
is
don't
bad.
think you
It's like
would.
top 1% life probably.
What are your complaints currently?
That I always experience financial anxiety, that I know these truths, that I must do the imaginal technique, and if you see yourself as this missing thing, something that's incomplete, and then needs that outside thing to integrate into you to be whole, you repel that thing.
Yeah.
And if you experience the wholeness, that you have it, and then you are a magnet for all of the other stuff, it just comes to you. And it's so counterintuitive if you have the ingrained not wanting stuff, but that's where I'm always struggling with that. I always am pushing stuff away on a feeling level.
Do you think you can change that by not lying to yourself, but basically refusing a belief that feels like a feeling, not intellectually, but like by catching the feeling and then like sending it in a different direction? Because that's literally what I've been in the process of doing. And since I feel like I've kind of accomplished any semblance of positive momentum, it's only been based on like vigilantly watching my reactions to every signal of like reaction to financial hardship, because that's like, it's literally the only thing that alleviates that anxiety. Otherwise, I've stayed in that state, like you're saying, for like almost 10 years. Like, I think I was like that from 2015 to almost 2017. There was a brief blip. No, I mean, because I had the fucking, I know what it feels like to be like have enough money, like to be like, that feeling of wealth, just like not having to worry about it, that not leading to any type of catastrophe, but just being okay, like being able to say yes to everything. I do remember that feeling. If you haven't experienced it yet, it's different. It's not like, oh, I got to the other side, but I do recognize the only way out of that feeling of anxiety is to genuinely like stay super fucking vigilant about your thoughts. Recognize that if you like felt a pattern of resistance, or like you just can't get it, just be like, all right, I understand that, but like this is never going to get any more simple than me just like absolutely reversing the energy at its core for as long as I can, and just see it, because like you do get that flip, and that's when those weird things start to happen in life, that like you get that opposite feeling that P is wonderful at expressing, which is just like, shit is flowing to me. Like, I couldn't turn off this spigot if I wanted to. I'm so in alignment with this abundant energy that it feels like amazing. The only way I know of ever kind of coming close to that or being in that state is literally just like kind of not, maybe it is tricking yourself. Like, it's whatever you have to do to literally just like get to the point where that other feeling is.
They're both tricks, by the way. It's not like one is the trick and then the other isn't the trick. It's like, which trick are you going to trick on yourself?
But it's easier. I think we would agree it's easier to go into a state of panic when things seem like they're not going right externally. Like, that's the easier of the two to do. It's the natural response for most of us. Like, if something happens that seems shitty, we go, oh, that's a shitty thing. This doesn't feel good. It's not a natural state of being for most of us to go like, oh, doesn't matter. Like, I'm
and
good.
Panic never works. Like, is there ever a scenario where panic is good? And people think, well, if you don't do panic, then that means you're just sitting there doing nothing. Of course, panic is good. And I'm not saying doing nothing, but doing the right thing calmly is so much better than panic, flailing arms around, going in a million directions with your mind.
Knowing that intellectually and being able to employ it when we get into the situations that trigger us, right, is the question. And I guess like whatever approaches you can use to actually deal with that, that's where it gets like satisfying and fulfilling, right? That's the only place that's ever going to come from. I would argue that the precise reason that you have the anxiety, this might not alleviate it in any way, is because you are waiting on subconscious level for the payoff to be like, oh, when I was this age and this year, this happened, and now I don't have to deal with this anymore. But for that to actually be an experience, you have to believe that to be true. Like, you actually have to feel that, not trick yourself intellectually, not tell yourself a story, but like actually know that to be the inevitable outcome, rather than kind of being like, well, maybe this is just what it is. Like, maybe this is just how this goes for me. And that kind of is like the crack in the door, I think, ultimately allows you to kind of like figure out if that's something you even want. Maybe there's some shit that financial hardship comes in place of. This is what I've been bouncing around recently.
Also, I got nothing on you. When you said you've got 10K in debt.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Or not 10K. What am I talking about?
120K. 120K. Yeah. Objectively, like, I am absolutely, like, fucked. Like, there's no...
I don't think I've had that total if you've racked up all of this debt that I've paid off throughout all of my life.
And so, like, but that just goes to show you that it's not a cumulative, like, number amount that determines the level of anxiety, because I should be 10, 20 times, 30 times as freaked out, right? I have progeny. I have children I have to take care of. I should be losing my shit, but
Doesn't your wife have, like, you can choose not to answer this or edit this out, but I might be remembering it wrong. I might be remembering Seinfeld or something, but isn't your wife independently wealthy?
Yeah, but I would never take money from my wife, like, for that.
No, not you, your kids.
No, my kids, I would never. First of all, I would never let any situation ever get to the point. I know this about myself personally. This is something where I think it is like, I think does happen with kids for a lot of people too, is like, and that's when you learn like more money needs to come in. So it does come in. I learned that pretty quickly with children, but there's like a base level where like I would never let my kids suffer in any way. If I had to like work like 10 jobs to like make enough money, like that's a level of sacrifice I'd be willing to do. So I always know that there's a solution that covers my family's basic needs. And I would never let anyone else in my family assume that burden. Like, that's, you have to kind of, at least for me personally, you have to take that on as a parent. But I know, like, I've been in similar situations. I think the last time I was in Sirius that I had like 60K. And this was in 2017, and the crypto hit again, and I made a shitload of money from that and was able to pay everything off, and then immediately went back to struggle mode for a few years, and then 2020 happened, 2021, and then I made a ton. I think I don't know how to describe it, but you probably, all of the reasons in the world and all of the facts in the world, you should take debt and financial hardship seriously. I just ultimately can't. Like, it doesn't feel like a real thing when I examine it. You know what I mean? And yeah, maybe.
But you make the payments though, right?
Of course I make the payments. I have to make the payments.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like, listen, but let me put it like this. If the situation got as such where I couldn't make payments, right? Like, and I'm just like, I cannot afford this. And it had to go into like collections, which I've never been in my life. I would absolutely do that. I have no problem going into collections for loans that I owe and settling for 40% of the debt and ruining my credit. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I've seen my credit be over 820. I've seen it be below 500. It's like, I've seen like both.
I didn't know it could go over 820. I thought 800 was the max.
There's now 820. I think it goes.
There's
850.
820.
Yeah.
There's a secret flavor.
Yeah. I had 820 for a while. Yeah, it goes above 800. I think it goes to like 830 or 850. But the point is that like those again are just numbers. You know what I mean? Like, if I have to reduce my personal comfort level or standard of living, which I don't believe that I do, like I don't entertain that as a thought, but if I did have to do that, and I'm not afraid to go there kind of like in my mind, I would do it. I guess that's where I kind of like recognize that like I don't want to cheat anyone, I don't want to wrong anyone, I'm not going to steal anything, but a lending institution that's charging me, 10% on a 5-year multi-rate loan, like, I don't feel so bad if I have to settle for 40% for them. Like, that's not going to like ruin my conception of self and feel like I'm a bad person.
What does that mean? Settle for, like, you pay it off all at once,
if you have,
40%?
Yeah, if you have debt and you go 30 days, 60 days, 90 days with any lender or credit card company, they will then refer you to a collections company who will then, on their behalf as a third-party company, go and settle your debt with them. Usually, depending on your circumstances, if you just start racking all your shit up
like because you think you can scam them for this isn't going to work. But if you're like a person who's really trying and has been making payments up until that point, they'll usually settle with you for loans and credit cards 40% of the total amount.
That's
with the
cool.
payment
So
plan.
then you got that you like it was so profitable then. I mean, maybe your credit score hits.
Yeah, your credit
gets a
score
hit,
goes
but
low, but Jessa,
that's a cool deal.
Jessa's hack for credit score. She was the one who talked because I think she filed for bankruptcy once or maybe twice. I don't want to slander her. I know she's spoken about this.
No, she's said it 100 times.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
but she's like the easiest hack for a shitty credit score is own a car, make your car payments. I have a car, I have payments.
I just finished it.
Yeah. So
I just got the title.
Yeah, I got the title for my last car. It's a good feeling. It feels good. Like you actually paid a whole thing off that was kind of expensive. It's a good feeling. And I also like try to treat money like that too. That's why I tend to meet my roles. Like I like paying bills. It sounds stupid, but I like the feeling of like, oh,
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
Yeah, here you go. I'll give you some bills. But I like the sense of accomplishment, like in a video game or an RPG where you do a task and you like knock it off. Like that's just a feeling that feels good to me. I don't have a problem. And I try to treat shit like that. Just like play around with the concept of money, which I know for a lot of people sounds very dangerous or risky, but I don't believe in money as a limited resource of like finite means. I do think it is a resonance thing ultimately. That is a felt reality to me. I have to remind myself of that at times, but I think most people can tap into that, and that's kind of the space to be in if you want to like really start playing around with it as a malleable energy.
That's true. And today is not today, like today, but like today's world. Before you could not make a lot of money overnight and not from the toilet, but now you could technically make $1 million if you punch the right input into your phone, and that message, whatever you're offering, like whether it's a trade or you're offering a product or service or something, like you can unlock that flow. It's possible from your phone in the bathroom.
And it's like, how do you align that energy, not that specific thing, like maybe you don't use the internet, but whatever it is, how do you align yourself with that energy in a way that feels authentic? Those are the questions that I've basically have been circling around. And how do you align it with, like, again, for me, the biggest question of my life right now should probably be my financial well-being, but it's like, what the fuck do you want your day-to-day life to look like? Like, let's pretend you had all the money in the world. Let's say that really isn't a factor. Like, live from that space. What do you want to do? Like, not because you need to pay bills, not because you have obligations. That's the thing. When you have that, do that. Do that thing. I think every day that I'm trying to, like, go through right now is that, and I trust that will lead to some situation that resolves whatever else. Because it doesn't have to be money. If someone was like, hey, Ramin, I'm going to pay for your housing for the rest of your life. I'm going to pay for your food. I'm going to pay for everything. Here you go. You would take it. You wouldn't be like, no, I need to have that in 100, sir. I would like to pay this in my own way. You'd be like, sure, Pop will take all that. No problems. Pay for my place. I'm good. But I think, like, that's usually not what people conceive of when they think about, like, their life and their well-being and their needs or their resources, because it's not how things have worked. We're not in that day and age, but I don't know. Those are the thoughts that I've been kind of, because I just realized this is an issue. Like, this is what I've centered back on, like, after all the imaginal stuff where, like, I did a lot of crazy shit. I experienced a lot of crazy things that to me are still unbelievable, but money seems to be a really big problem for a lot of people in this country and in the world. Like, it really seems to be a dominant form of restriction and anxiety that I fundamentally do not believe is built into, like, the structure of reality. It is a construct that absolutely does not have some fundamental reality. So how do we hack it, as Jessa would say? How do we, use a cheat code, as P would say? Like, what are the tools that are effectively out there that can be reliably employed too? Not like, maybe this will work sometimes, maybe it won't, but like, no, I can test this shit. It can work. It worked for me. And I think I'm just kind of in the process of proving that again for another time. And hopefully I can map it out in a way where I can be like, this is how you do it, at least with this specific problem. And, you know, like I recognize there's a lot of people like you and me at various times who just like, as much as you can intellectually understand this shit, it is not always easily employable. It is not something
No.
that feels natural to a lot of people a lot of the time. So when you're in that place, particularly, what do you use? Like, what do you use to remind yourself that that is something that you can do? And that's kind of, I guess that's what I've been kind of focusing on, because you know, those are the obstacles in your way at any given time. But I do look forward
Yeah.
to like coming back and talking about this stuff, you know, in like, I don't know, 6 months and being like, remember all that?
When we're real broke.
No, yeah, when we're super fucked and I'm in debtor's prison.
Yeah. Yeah, it's me on the other side of the glass.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
like-
bring in the mic for you.
Yeah, my kids are like sadly at the glass being like, Daddy, we miss you. No, but I do genuinely look forward to being like, you know, like, remember when I said I had all that debt? Yeah, it's gone. Here's what happened since then. This is kind of what worked for me. I mean, that's truly what I believe, why I go through these things. And I've gone through them before too. Like, this is, I tend to ratchet things up to such an extreme. It's kind of like fucking ridiculous. But I do think that the lessons and like whatever I learned through those experiences, that's part of why I have a podcast and why I talk about the things I talk about, because I'm kind of a dumbass, and if I can do it, then anyone can do it. That's kind of like my philosophy on a lot of this stuff. And I just feel like, I think a lot of us are just ready to end this shit, to be honest. Like, it's like, get on with living a different aspect.
And
of
our
life.
suffering or the life or both?
No, well, no, hopefully not both.
I think it's both. I think a lot of people are, I mean, suicide is, or financial stress is the number one cause of suicidal
Yeah, which is
ideation.
a
I'm pretty
shame.
sure.
It's fucked up.
And it has a way of taking over your brain. Like, it's when you have enough money for the next 6 months to pay all your bills, like you start imagining like, oh, I could invest in this and grow that. And then when you don't have enough to pay rent and rent's coming up, it shuts it all down. Like, you can't even think. You've got brain fog, you've got anxiety. You're like just gonna lie down in bed and then you're like, but I can't lie down in bed because then the time will move forward. I'll go sit in front of the workstation and work, but I can't work because it's this. So it's like this, it's a stalemate of action and inaction towards it. So what was the point of that? Maybe there was no point. It was just articulating
You're just
the
saying
feeling
this
of,
is
it's,
what it's like when I feel like
it's what it's like, and just what I'm trying to tell myself beyond, like, because I know all the Imaginal techniques. I know that, you know, Abraham Hicks, and I know it's your resonance with all that. I know every way of cutting it. I can play it in every key, holding the instrument backwards. I can play that tune. But what's working for me right now, or I'm trying to tell myself, is just that the other way does not work. I'm not talking about what works. Fuck
You
what
just
works.
know what doesn't.
Let's focus on what does not work. What does not work is panic and anxiety about it and beating yourself up about it. That's the number one. So when you're going down that road, it's like you just have to U-turn. It's like, but where are we going? Where are we putting in the
Doesn't
GPS?
matter.
Doesn't matter. I'm just getting away from this neighborhood because that's a bad neighborhood.
It's true. Like, that, I think, is the prereq for any other type of action you would take anyway. You have to have the awareness that that shit isn't working. Like, that is, you cannot realize that unless you were just naturally doing it all of the time, which, like, cool, dude. Like, that sounds amazing. But it's not how people typically engage with any type of anxiety in their lives, because it wouldn't be anxiety then. But yeah, I mean, the panic stuff is just, it is useless. I think once you identify that, then yeah, you just, I do think it's, you know, intellectually that when you feel like good things are going to happen to you, good things happen to you. It's like a very understood, plain fact of life. But what do you do to kind of impress that on your subconscious, or whatever you want to call it, your higher self? Let that communicate with you. Those are the tools and kind of systems and methodologies that I think I'm most like focused on right now, just because I just know, like I said, I can take financial hardship pretty lightly. Like, I can like really look at this and not freak the fuck out. A, because I know it doesn't help anything, but B, because I do know that once you start doing that, it does tend to alleviate itself. But I know people who literally cannot, who just like, I know many, many people who cannot stop that. And I'd like to be able to like share something And my way of doing it is like jumping into the pool with everyone else and being like, oh yeah, this does suck. How the fuck do we get out of here? Let me try to figure it out, and then I'll try to get you out. That's kind of what I feel like I'm doing, just because I don't know, like I think that's how I relate to a lot of like suffering in the world. And I think a lot of people do that. It's just sometimes we can forget that we don't have to exist in that state permanently. And that to me, what was like, that's what falling asleep
Yeah, you would
was.
visit Skid Row when you came out here.
Yeah.
You didn't need to visit Skid Row. You had a nice Airbnb in Laurel Canyon.
Yeah.
And then you still went to Skid Row. You didn't spend the night there, but you just
No, I
went there
walked
just
through
to
it, got out on
just
the
so
streets.
that's what you did financially. You went to financial Skid Row.
I did do that, man. I literally.
So you can help us navigate the way out.
I'm trying. I mean, to me, like, and like, I do this with like actual financial funds when I have the means. It's just, to me, it doesn't make sense this other way that we're experiencing it. It fundamentally, like, if I thought that's what it was, I wouldn't rail against it. I'd just accept it. I'd be like, you know what? This is fine. Like, this is just how reality is. We got to work on these things. But I'm like, nah, this is bullshit. Like, people shouldn't be.
It is.
Like, people like Ramin shouldn't be worrying about money. People all over the world shouldn't be worrying about any type of financial anxiety. It's a stupid thing to worry about. Not that it diminishes the importance of, like, how it feels when you're worrying about it. It's just like, there's other stuff that we could be putting our energy to. We could be directing that towards some other,
Yeah.
that to me, it's like about loosening up that type of energy. So I do look forward to having this conversation again in the not too distant future and being like, all right, dude, here's what I figured out. Hopefully you can try this and this will work. Otherwise I'll just have to like, become a patron of you and subsidize you with like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and be like, does this work, man? Did you figure it out? Is this the best way to do it?
It works. It's the best way. It works for me.
I will do it.
6
too.
months from now is crazy. Like 6 months from now could either be exactly like now, or we'll have gone through 100,000 different news cycles of things, and it'll all be about DeSantis versus Biden, because we're about to enter in another
I forgot.
political year where it's going to be all about that, and silence is violence.
DeSantis, dude. It's going to be Trump. You know that. Like, this dude.
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh my God.
Sure.
Novelty is the only thing I know that increases, and there is no more novel situation than criminal, indicted, people hating Trump coming back and being in front of everyone's faces. That's the only thing I bet on, is novelty at this point. It's the only it's the safest bet. It's like taking, the favored team. You're not going with the underdog if you're taking something that's insane and doesn't seem to make sense.
Is he allowed to? I thought, this might just be MSNBC or something, but he's not disqualified because of all of the controversies, right? He could still run perfectly fine.
Yeah,
okay.
he could.
Yeah, then he's got it then, I guess.
Yeah, unless they come up with like an actual law or like injunction that prevents him from doing it, anyone can run for president. He's not convicted. He's just indicted. They're unlikely to convict someone who's running for president. Just the political ramifications of that alone are like too sketchy. No, he's gonna be pissing people off for a long time, and
late night TV's gonna love it, and they're gonna cry so much.
That's when the economic boom will happen. That's the craziest thing, is this dude is gonna lead to the next like entertainment economic boom, and then money will be flowing around, crypto will be going nuts, and we'll be saying, hey, this shit makes no sense. I'm looking forward to it.
And it never did, and it currently isn't, and the future, if there's one thing you can count on, is that it also won't make sense then, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's leave it on that. Let's leave it on the notion for people that none of this makes sense. It will never make sense. Don't try to make sense of it. Just try to keep your head afloat and don't lose your shit. I personally, though, I gotta say, my general sense of 2024, for most people who I think are kind of tuning in to what's going on, it's going to be a pretty good year. I really do believe that. I do not get the sense that this kind of chaotic struggle, panic situation energy is sustainable in the same way like a manic state of like hyper kind of worry is just, you can't live in that forever. You'll crash at some point. You have to take a nap or something. I do have a sense that if people are willing to like, fucking plumb the depths of their mind, their psyches, their souls, whatever it is, there's going to be a lot of like pretty opportunities. You get it. Yeah, exactly. Liu Kang people. It's going to be a pretty good time. Dude, remind people where they can find you. We're still doing that.
Of course we are. RaminNazer.com, RainbowBrainskull.com. Social media wise, Ramin Nazer is the main social media that I post to, but yeah, those ones. And from everything else comes those. And watch out, I've got a lot of exciting stuff in the works, or I don't do it and I am silent for 6 months. It's one of those two. It's going to be a lot of stuff. I keep telling myself, like, I'm going to start recording episodes again.
It's
and
hard.
then just, you know, the day happens, like, I don't want to record episodes. I don't want to edit episodes. I don't want to have I mean, this is a lot of fun, but you know what I mean.
It's
when
hard.
it's when it's your own, when it's going on someone else's show is different than your own
easy
show.
compared to your own thing, for sure. It's hard to get going again, but you also, like, you put a lot of stuff out there creatively already, so like getting that like turbo boost of like energy to do a podcast, like, people might not understand, it's like, it's not always the easiest thing. There's a reason that every like one of us in this like little weird field stopped for a little bit. It is like also, like, some people can just do it when they don't feel like doing it. Like, there are those people that exist. They're like, this is my brand, this is what I do, even if I feel like a piece of shit, I'm gonna do it. When I feel like I don't have energy and a piece of shit, I can't do it. I'm just like, no, I cannot. I literally
Are you
cannot.
familiar with the doshas?
The doshas, meaning are those the poisons?
No, it's the it's like the Vedic Indian categorization of personality and motivation types, and I've just learned about it a little bit. But there's basically the Vatas, who your mind is like the wind.
Sattva,
like,
Raja, and what's the other one? I think
Kappa.
Yeah.
Something. Basically, one is like very structured, motivated career climber. The other is like the wind and just cannot stick to a do it every day forever type of thing. And then the other is like kind of slow but long form, like George R.R. Martin building out Game of Thrones, these huge worlds throughout like decades and stuff. And I think you and I are both of the first type of the we can't stick to one. Well, this is what I do. I release an episode every Monday at 9 a.m. and we do the, like, eventually you just wake up, you're like, what am I doing? It feels like it's the same episode every week. Am I just re-recording the same episode?
I stop as soon as I have any semblance that this became like a job or something that I'm doing because I set it up as something to do. It's done. Like, I can't continue. I think Jess is the same way, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's just like fitting that into a society and digital culture that rewards daily, regular, persistent content is maybe not the best permutation of that. But I do think that's like why we create our own kind of like digital outpost for this stuff. Like, the way you do it also is like it's still some of the best shit out there. Like, just all of the things, the thoughts you encapsulate in illustrated form are just like, there's a reason, you know, people love it, because it just like puts people's ideas that they can see that they have in such like a expressive and cool way that I think there will always be a place for that. Yeah, man, that's the best. But I also don't get the sense with you that you don't have that level of consistency, because you do have like a lot of catalog and new stuff that you do that, like, it does feel like you're doing a great job of getting the stuff out there regularly. I usually feel like,
thank you.
It does. Like, that's
it
just
might
from
be
my perspective.
egoic. I think it might be egoic, and not the stuff that I put out, but my struggle with it might be more of an ego struggle, because I was thinking of Android Jones was talking about how he realized he was hiding behind images a lot, and I feel like I do that sometimes. Like, I'm hiding behind artwork. I'm very rarely putting out my voice, my image, my video,
I never thought
things
of that.
like that. And it's like I have time to craft this image, and then it goes there, and then I'm safely hidden behind it. I get 0 negative comments, 0 dick pics, 0 death threats, all nice stuff, because I'm not putting myself out there. It's heavily curated, perfect. That, like, who could write a mean thing about that? And if you do, you're just an unhinged
piece of
person.
shit.
Like, you're surrounded by that. But if I just did a regular podcast every day and made the jokes that came to me, I would get so much hate. Of course I would, because I like the stuff you like too. I like South Park. I like Tim Dillon, and then those kind of things. I think they're funny, and I don't think they're right, but they're funny.
I don't think anyone would revolt I think you've also been out there like to the degree that anyone would revolt if you shared your opinions or like said that you like things that maybe not everyone is going to like. I think also like, you know, I get the hiding potentially behind this stuff, but like, I don't know, man. I don't think it's even capable of doing that anymore. Inevitably, there's going to be some aspect of your personality that's been out there, or even this or something where like someone could find fault for something you're going to say. I guess I know from all of the horrible things that people think about me and have no problem saying to me, it's really not so bad. It's actually kind of liberating because it's just like, it's so ridiculous. Like, I guess if I felt like a piece of shit, like if I really was like, I'm a bad person, like then it would sting in like some real way. But like, I know like ultimately where I'm coming from and what I believe and what I think. And there's, at least from my perspective, not like it's not from a place of hate or like dislike. I may be stupid sometimes. I may say something that's not like nice to say. But like, I don't question myself on that deep fundamental level. And I doubt that you do either. I mean, it's people are always going to have fucking opinions of other people they don't know. And it's usually just a projection of their own insecurities at the end of the day anyway. Like, can't take any of this shit seriously on the internet.
Yeah.
You really can't.
I just don't want it, though. I just don't want to look at it. I know that it's just them, but like the thought of it coming in and like you're getting like, if you're getting half bad comments and half good, it's still like...
You'll never get dude, are you kidding me? Like for us, the instances I mentioned of people relative to all the nice things people write me and say to me, it's like, it's less than 1%. Like it is infinitesimally small. And I say a lot of wild shit. Like I don't think people really, also people are in their filter bubbles these days now. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like they're just really like, they get it, man.
What's it like being, I mean, I guess you acclimating eventually, but what's it like being a hard right political pundit or a hard left pundit where you're like one half of the world is like always just going after you, or
you get it though. That's the value exchange. Do you know what I mean? Like if you take a stance, if I one day decide to be hard right or hard left, I've now gained an entire fan base. You can look at it like half the people hate me, but now half the people love me. Now this huge segment of people agrees with everything I say because it's the same talking points, it's the same perspectives, it's only validating what they believe. So that's the devil's bargain there, right? You're gaining this level of awareness, and you can just say, oh, fuck the haters, they don't matter. It's harder to kind of be like somewhere in the middle and kind of point at the silliness of it. And I think, you know,
it is harder.
It is because like you can't, it's nuanced. Like you can't just take a regular stance and be like, oh, okay, well, or one-sided stance and be like, well, this is all bullshit. You know, it's obviously bullshit. You have to kind of be like, well, this is bullshit and that's bullshit and this is also bullshit. And I kind of agree with this and maybe I agree with this sometimes, but I'm going to change my mind. Like, you know, it's not giving people a target to kind of like latch onto. And paradoxically, you will then have targets on you because people will label you as everything that they think you are. It's just like, you know, it's fucking...
Our brains have just melted because of this. I was thinking that when I was, you know, in high school, I would watch Seinfeld and Friends and then lie down and read a comic book and then go to bed. And that was my media consumption. And now it's like thousands of opinions of varying knowledge and importance, and maybe bots are half of them.
So many bots. What is going on? I know, dude. Something's got to give, though. Like, this is not.
It is. It's given.
Something is like, this is. We can't do this for like another, what, 5 years of this?
We're already past the due date. It's expired. It's already old.
What do we? I mean, that's why my faith is in that. Like, this just whole reality perception bubble fundamentally changes sooner rather than later, because I just
2024, baby.
I don't think people can sustain this. I really don't. I think it's 2024 vibes, man. I really do. You rock, dude. You're the best.
Right back at you. It's been great to catch up.
Yeah, it really has.
Sorry listeners for for 15 minutes of it. Wherever,
Oh, fuck
whatever
off.
15
Whatever.
minutes you didn't like, sorry about that.
I'll make sure to edit all the 15 minutes out that people didn't like and just leave it with like 5 minutes of the podcast.
Yep, do it. Yeah.
I am going to release that for the patrons.
No, I stand by everything I said. Yes,
100%.
including that line. Yeah.
Amazing. All right.
Whoa, did you stay all the way past the music? You must really like the show, or you fell asleep, in which case, your life is amazing. Everything is awesome. Let that sink in. If you're still awake, though, and you're digging the show, a reminder, you can find bonus episodes every week on patreon.com/synchronicity, the $5 tier. It's a pretty good deal if you like this podcast. If you don't, then definitely don't do it. But also, what the fuck are you doing here at the end of the episode? Why would you listen to the whole thing if you don't like it? It's just, it's the way it is fun stuff going on over there. Like I said, stay tuned for music, other fun stuff, the Imagination Group. It's going to be cool. Starts in November. We're going to pilot test, and then we'll look at doing an annual one. Have not forgotten about the live events, just sorting that out, waiting for my fam to get back so I can plan it out. Make sure something cool's going on in Brooklyn. Don't know why I deviated into that accent. Anyway, I will see you next week. Until then, happy imaginating. Imaginating? Sure, imaginating. Happy imagining, and I love you. Bye-bye.